So a couple of weeks ago, I recorded my training session with Carmel. Now, Carmel has a bit of a bad habit that every time there's contact made on her mouth, she throws her head up in the air. This is something that I do think has derived from possibly a pain type of thing, whether it was teeth or chiropractic or something along those lines, but just to make sure that everyone's well aware that she has been checked over and that there is no pain and that this is just a learnt habit, as I said, most likely from a pain type of thing, and that she's just learnt to avoid all contact with the bit by throwing her head up in the air. And she has done this for several years, being as a racehorse. So I just wanted to put a voiceover onto this video so that you guys could understand what I'm doing in each and every part of it. So as you can see that every time I try and make contact, she's doing everything possible to try and avoid that big contact. What we have to remember is that it is a pressure and release, so that every time she does what I want, I've got to release that pressure and give her a reward. So right there when I stopped her, she wasn't moving off my outside leg. So I had to forget about the headset and asking for collection, and I needed her to move off that outside leg. So remembering with collection that we've got to ensure that it's not just about the headset. It is about positioning the body in the correct frame. So they need to have self-carriage, they need to be straight, they need to have impulsion. Once you've got all of that in check, then you can start to worry about headset and you can put your collection aids on. So what I want you to pay attention to is that when I do ask her to lower her head, as soon as she puts her head in that correct frame, I release and give her a pat. So as soon as I do that, instantly I lose that headset. But that's okay, because she's learning that every time that she gives to the bridle in that particular direction, I will release and she will get a reward. See that? Pat, instantly. Okay? As you see that every time I give her that reward, she's more and more willing to come down into that correct headset as opposed to throwing her head up. So if she throws her head up, I maintain contact and keep my collection aids on, and there's no release. I don't get heavier, I just keep asking. See that? Keep asking. As soon as she puts her head down, I give her a pat. It was a little bit hard to see, but I did. This way, she will continue to learn. And at the moment, the period that we have correct headset is minimal, as opposed to when she gets going really, really well. The time frame that she isn't in the correct headset will be minimal. So it will reverse. But first of all, she has to be aware of what I am asking. And I apologize for going outside the video there. But she has to, as I was saying, she has to be aware of what I am wanting. And she has to gain trust in me that when she does what I want, I am going to release and give her a reward. So what a lot of people do is that when they do get a horse and they're trying to teach it collection, they want to just get the headset and just hold it there. So that does create resistance. So we don't want to create resistance with the horse. So I apologize, I'm outside of the video, but I did pull her up and give her a pat because she did really, really well. So yes, as I was saying, you will create resistance. If you ask for that headset and they give it to you and you do not release, you will create resistance. So here she's not listening to my inside leg. So I'm forgetting about the headset. I'm not worried about that. I need to get her responsive to that inside leg so that I am able to place her body in the correct position so that I can put my collection aids on. So again, it's just pressure, release at the right particular time. Also keep in mind that if you are doing work in trot or canter, it is a good idea that after the horse has done a little bit and it's done it really well, that you need to give your horse a reward by coming back down to a walk. So it's just as important to do that as it is to release on your collection aids. Keep in mind too that horses that haven't done a lot of collection type of work won't have a lot of muscle strength there. So if you get on and expect to go round and round and round and round for 20 minutes in a collected frame and your horse is not actually fit enough and strong enough to do that, you will create a lot of resistance with your horse. So again, I'm just pressure release. When I'm going into sit trot, I'm using my seat to push her along a little bit. So when I place the aids on and she throws her head up in the air and I keep my aids on, my collection aids on, she wants to then slow down and try and avoid it by changing her gait. So I then use my legs and my seat to just gently drive her back into that bridle so that when she does give, I can reward her by giving her a pat and a release on those rein aids. So you see she gets down there, I release, and then she comes back up, aids on, she gets down there, release, pat. And so it looks quite messy in the beginning, but that's all right because this is the training stage. This is where she's learning to gain that trust in me, in that every time she gives to that bridle, I am going to give a release. And that when she gets down there and she's holding it like she's there, I'm kind of just leaving her alone. I have a gentle pressure on that outside rein, but I'm pretty much just leaving her alone. And so she's going, oh, hang on, when my head's down here, no one's hassling me to do anything. As opposed to if I have my head up in the sky, they're putting aids on to get my head down here. So she has to know that putting her head in the correct headset is a really nice place to be, and that I will leave her alone. So she did really well in this video. And so it's important to make sure, as I said, that all your leg aids are working prior to trying to get your horse to go into collection, because it's not just about the headset. So at the moment, I'm just giving her a nice little walk around. I'm not really asking for a correct headset as such. I'm just asking her to be able to hold contact on her mouth and move off my leg aids. So this is her little bit of a reward for doing some really nice work in the trot and then coming back down and just giving her a little relaxing walk before we pull up. So allowing her to sort of stretch her head down and going, this is actually quite nice. This is relaxing. And stretching all those back muscles. So it will feel quite nice for him to do that. And also by doing this, because she's still in the beginning of her training stage in terms of collection, I'm just going through all my leg aids. I'm ensuring that she's moving off them correctly. So here we're having a little issue with the leg aids. So she's not moving correctly off my inside leg. So I'm just backing that up. And it doesn't have to be hard or over the top. I just place the leg aid on, and if she doesn't move off of it correctly, I then take away a lot of the forward and make her go sideways and make her understand that leg aids as one leg aid is a sideways aid. And that is a very common problem that occurs in the off-the-track thoroughbreds. So I will put another video up in the near future about how to get your horses responsive to the leg aids, to try and encourage them to move sideways rather than forwards. So again, you see, I'm just asking her to stretch down. I'm not asking her to come into a collected frame. I just want her to try and stretch her head down. And lots of pats. And you can't quite hear, but I do talk quite a lot to my horses while I'm riding them. Thoroughbreds, they're quite a sensitive type of horse, and they're very, very responsive to verbal commands. So even if you tell them that they're a good horse, good girl, good boy, they're very, very responsive, and it reassures them that that's actually what you're asking for. Because when they're trying to learn something new, it can be a little bit overwhelming for them. So if you can just reassure them that they've done the right thing with a voice command, it just helps that learning process so much more.